Carlos Alcaraz is the reigning youthful king of tennis. And if you don't believe me, just ask Casper Ruud, who Carlos just dismantled in the French Open final. It was supposed to be the battle of the youngsters, but it turned into more of a passing of the torch ceremony. Hey, it's me. And now that the dust has settled in Paris, it's time to take a look at what made Carlos so successful. Let's start from the beginning. The first time we saw Carlos this year was in Monte Carlo, in only his second Masters 1000 event. He found himself in the final against the legendary Rafael Nadal, after losing the first set tiebreak. Many thought Rafa would cruise to the finish line. He took advantage of a very slow start from Carlos to take the first set tiebreak and riding that momentum all the way to a 2-sets-to-love lead. He slipped while trying to hit a drop shot and injured his leg. The trainer came out to attend to him, but nothing could be done. Casper had to continue playing. Credit to Casper, he did try his best to play through the injury, but it was clear that he wasn't 100%. Carlos took advantage of this and won the third set comfortably. He broke back immediately and held to love to force a decider. However, this time, there would be no comeback. Carlos kept his composure and won the next 3 points to seal the most incredible victory of his career. His goal will be to join an exclusive list of players who have won the first 3 majors of a calendar year, a feat last accomplished by the great Rod Laver in 1969. At this point, many people were getting comfortable in their seats, thinking that this would be an easy victory for Casper. I was not feeling the pressure of being 2-sets-to-love and add Carbolo. This change was made after Carlos felt that his previous racket was too light and that he needed something more stable. Looking ahead, one of the few things missing from Carlos's trophy cabinet is a title at Wimbledon. With his current form, he'll be a favorite to win the grass court major and complete a calendar year Grand Slam. After testing out various options, he ultimately decided to switch to a larger head size and increase the weight of the racket. When asked about this, he gave a cryptic response. "I think the most important thing is that we fill the stadium during the day. As the Sincaraz Era begins, he'll look to usher in a new generation of tennis alongside Jannik Sinner, who also had a great result in Paris, reaching his first ever Grand Slam final. And the last time we saw a new player win a major, we saw that player win the next 3 in a row. Can Carlos follow in the footsteps of his idol, Rafael Nadal, and complete a career Grand Slam in Australia? Only time will tell. If the stadium is full during the day, I'm happy to play any shift. I am here to play Wimbledon and try to enjoy my tennis." This comment left many people wondering if Carlos's schedule really did include a ban on night matches. This adjustment seems to be paying off, as Carlos has been performing at a high level ever since the switch. "No, I was calm. I knew I could do it." You have to be very focused until the last moment because everything can happen. The most important thing is to keep believing. Just when it seemed that he had taken control, Casper made a remarkable recovery, saving 3 championship points and forcing a 5th set. Despite starting the 5th set poorly, Casper managed to hold on and get himself back into the match, saving 5 more championship points. One criticism that was levied against the series was that it did unshow much of Carlos's personal life. When asked about this, Carlos said, "There are things that the cameras cannot capture. Moments that you live in your day-to-day, the day-to-day of my life outside of tennis. Maybe they will see a bit more of this in the second part of the documentary, but there are things that cannot be shown on camera." The tension was palpable, and the crowd was on the edge of their seats. And when he's not training, he's eating or sleeping. "So where does he find the motivation to keep going when things get tough?" Carlos responded. "I think the most important thing is to enjoy what you do. If you don't enjoy what you do, it's impossible to train hard every day, to put in the hours required to be the best version of yourself. You must enjoy what you do. That's the most important thing. The rest will come. If you don't enjoy it, you can't do it like this." But that's when the plot took a dramatic turn. That set was enough for many commentators to write him off once again, claiming that he wasn't ready to compete against Novak Djokovic in the semifinals. However, Carlos silenced all of the critics and produced arguably the greatest performance of his career to dismantle Novak in straight sets and find himself in the final against Casper Ruud. But they forgot one crucial detail. This is not 2005 anymore. This is 2023, and the new generation is here. As the match entered its 6th hour, both players were visibly exhausted. But it was Carlos who blinked first, dropping the 10th game of the set and giving Casper the opportunity to serve for the championship. With a championship point on his racket, Carlos went for broke, attacking Casper's second serve and hitting a forehand cross-court that just clipped the line. The crowd gasped as the ball crossed the line by the narrowest of margins. It was a close call, but it was enough for Carlos to secure the victory. With the score at 6-5, Carlos began to make one last-ditch effort to stay alive in the match. He broke Casper to level the score at 6 games apiece. This was a monumental swing in momentum, and the crowd erupted in applause. Carlos won the next 2 sets in a tiebreak, and despite losing the 4th, came back again in the 5th to become the youngest player to win a Masters 1000 title since his idol Rafael Nadal in 2005. The following week, he backed it up with another title in Rotterdam, where he saved 2 match points against his good friend Jannik Sinner in the final. With these 2 titles under his belt, many people expected Carlos to make a deep run in Miami. But after getting upset by Tommy Paul in the 4th round, he headed back to Europe to prepare for the clay season. In his first match on clay, he found himself 2 sets down against a qualifier. And although he did win the next 2 sets, he barely managed to scrape past the challenge in the deciding super tiebreaker. Many people, including myself, wrote him off, believing that the Miami result was a true representation of his abilities, and that without the heavy clay court bounce, he wouldn't be able to find success. But little did we know, those doubts would fuel his extraordinary run at the French Open. He dropped only 1 set throughout the entire tournament, which came in the quarterfinals against Karen Khachanov. With Carlos being the heavy favorite, many people expected a routine victory. However, that was far from the case. Casper had other plans. Casper got a scare in the 3rd game of the 3rd set. With new life in his game, Carlos continued to press forward in the 4th set. At this point, the match had already lasted over 4 hours, surpassing the previous record of 4 hours and 11 minutes set by Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer in 2008. Both players held serve until the score reached 7-6 in favor of Carlos. But that was not the end of the match. Casper refused to go down without a fight. When asked about how he managed to overcome the disappointment of losing the 4th set and saving 3 championship points, Carlos replied, "I knew I could make it," and believe he did. Carlos currently sits at 21 straight match wins heading into Wimbledon. Speaking of lava, Alcaraz is currently watching his Netflix docuseries, which chronicles the Spaniard rise to prominence in 2022. One of the biggest takeaways from the documentary was that Carlos works relentlessly on his craft. He trains twice a day, every day. Another interesting tidbit from the documentary was Carlos's revelation, that he recently switched to using a larger racket head size. Many people doubted his ability to succeed on clay, but he proved them wrong by winning the French Open. One topic that's generated a lot of buzz lately is the alleged ban on night matches during Carlos's visit to London. However, one thing is for sure. Carlos's exceptional talent and dedication to his craft make him a force to be reckoned with on the tennis court. The duo will look to accomplish something that hasn't been done in quite some time. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.